So we're having a little bit of a gap down. Not much is going on. Activision getting bought out. Activision with their toxic workplace culture. Exactly. Who would have thought? Who would have thought a bunch of neckbeards would create a toxic work environment? Who would have thought? Man, this BBIG, day 4, could be set up. Could be a potential short setup, but it's not that big of a move. It's only like 120%. That makes me cautious. I'd rather do nothing. But I just manage my positions. Well, all the crypto names are getting killed due to obvious reasons. It's MSTR. I'm thinking this could be an interesting short. SI, yeah, it's holding up well. On the weekly, it looks fine. Any oil names in particular? No, they're all extended. Oil entry was 2 weeks ago. Since then, everything has been extended. What's the financials doing? Yeah, financials are weak too. Just need a lot of patience. A lot of patience. Bear market 2022. We had a bear market in 2021. 10 months of 2021. It's a hidden bear market. We are already 11 months into it. It's just been masked by the larger names. Well, at least a lot of sectors. But it would be good with a rollover in the SPYs. Would be very healthy. It's been a relentless uptrend for a long time. Need a little bit of a reset. Oh, yeah, Goldman Sachs. Oh yeah, the big bank, Citigroup looks fine, but these big banks look like shit. Isn't this the right time to put on some short positions? I don't know. If you can find something good. Why would this be better than last week or last month? Or why is now a good time? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, when we got all those bear flags that broke down, like stuff like Palantir and ARK and CrowdStrike, all these bear flags resulted in a downside. But that was the time to short. Now I just don't see any setups. We're in limbo. Like, there are markets you can heavily buy stuff, there are markets you can heavily short stuff, and there are markets, it's just better to do nothing. Ocean shipping stocks still staying strong. Which ones are those? Which ones are the ocean shipping stocks? Zim and Green? Oh, okay. Yeah, Sim. Yeah, this thing. And what was the other one? Oh, Green. Yeah, Green. Oh, okay. Yeah. And DAC. Yeah, okay. DAC actually looks really good on a weekly. But man, it's thin. They're all thin. Green had a good setup like 3 weeks ago. These commodity names are real superstars. AA is looking interesting again. AMC, is it? Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna bleed back into single digits. And all the apes are gonna cry. And this was also, 2 weeks ago, it had this little bear flag, resulted in a downside. If we can finally break out of the range. This thing has been showing such relative strength for so long. XPEV 2, but not NIO. Did you watch Pradeep's question everything video on YouTube? Stocks that hold up in a weak market don't perform the best. Well, it depends. First of all, the market itself hasn't been that weak. In like mild pullbacks, during mild corrections in an uptrend, say 5, 7, 8%, just like the one we are in right now, usually the stocks with the most momentum that have been showing resilience are the ones that tend to do the best. But during deeper corrections and longer lasting corrections, when you really have a lot of things that get beaten down, in those scenarios it's the most beaten down names that usually do best in the first phase of the rally, once you get a rally. So it depends. Obviously it depends. Just because a stock has been holding up doesn't mean it has to go up when the market correction ends. It depends on the momentum. Like if you look at LI and XPEV, like these things, they're in big flags. And every market dip they just bounce back. So Do your own thinking. During deep and long corrections, or long corrections, it's the beaten down names that generally do best, at least the first part of the ensuing rally. But in the like 5-8% corrections in an uptrend, it's usually the ones that hold up the best. And the last time we saw a good example of it was AMD and Nvidia back in October, right? They showed resilience, and then once the market pressure ended, just shot straight up. 2 mega cap stocks, right? AMD went up like 50% in a month and half. Nvidia I didn't trade, I passed on this one, but this one went up 60%. Oh, copper. Too bad there are no more, there aren't, you know, more liquid copper stocks. I'm like FCX, what are the other copper stocks? There's not many liquid. It's the only liquid one. Copper, let's see here. SCCO, WRN. And then there's this ETF too. Tech. Oh yeah, actually it is. Yeah, you're right. It's not, oh yeah, it's an ADR, that's why it's not under the copper. Oh, TRQ, yeah, it's another copper now, I remember this, yeah. Oh, it's so thin. SBEV short, I don't see a short setup here. Would have been a better short setup if it was gapping up. I don't like big gap downs. Do you have a favorite stock? One that you traded several times with big profits? Yes, Tesla. Tesla has been the stock I've traded the most every year for the past, like, I don't know, 6-7 years. Every year it's Tesla. Best trading stock ever. Long short. And it's actually gonna set up again. It's actually setting up again. What are your thoughts on just learning technical material from the CMT, Chartered Market Technician designation? I think it's completely useless. If you want to make tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, you can skip it. You don't need to do anything. What you need to do is go through every single fucking stock in the US stock market. Look at the ones that had made big moves at any point during their existence. And then you go back, you start studying what were the patterns, what were the news, what were the market conditions. That's all you know. You don't need anyone. You don't need any designation or certification. It's all for losers. You need to understand how the stock market works, what makes it tick, why and how stocks move, how different sectors move. Because there's also differences between different sectors. And in what market conditions do certain sectors work better than others? That's what you need to do. You go back 20, 30 years. You don't even need to go back that far. You can just go back to the past 5 years. And you'll find at least, you're gonna find at least 3-4 setups that occur over and over again. You don't even need to know anything. You don't need to do any, or at least not a lot of fundamental analysis. You need to be aware of the sector. You will outperform most people. The most important thing is avoiding all the bullshit out there, all the misinformation. There's so much noise and bullshit out there. So many fucking losers selling all their courses and stuff. Exactly, it's all about not being a fucking victim. Take control, you need to take charge. Look, when it comes down to this, in the stock market or in the financial market, it's about figuring out where is the money going, where is the money, and from where the money is flowing out. That's what you need to figure out. Now, it sounds easy, but it's hard, right? It's simple, but it sounds simple, but it's not easy. It takes time. Because we have all these stupid filters, and there's always these constant opinions and news and things that kind of distort reality. But the closer to reality you can get, the better. So unfollow all the people on Twitter, social media. Leave all these stupid fucking stock discords. They're for retards. It's just, especially if you're paying for a stock discord, just stop. The less noise, the better. All you need to do is listen to the market. You know, pay attention, right? Like right now we are in a mild correction. Now obviously it can turn into a bigger correction, but you know, what are the things, where is the money flowing, right? Where are the setups occurring? It's easy to get caught up in all these narratives. Oh, inflation and rate hikes and tapering and oh, Russia's gonna invade Europe. And you know, if it happens, right? And the market is gonna react accordingly. But you know, if you've been in the camp that everything is gonna go to shit for the past X amount of years or whatever, you made no money. If you listen to the market, you will capitalize on the good times and you will stay out during the bad times. That's the most important thing. You need to listen to the markets. Don't listen to news, listen to the markets. Don't listen to your friendly neighbor. Don't take his stock tips. He doesn't know anything. He has a 9 to 5. He doesn't know shit. All he does is have a bunch of opinions. You don't think Kenny Boy would live in your neighborhood? Yeah, that's true. He lives in a goddamn skyscraper in Chicago. Doesn't he own like the top 15 floors or something? He lives in a phallus symbol. I'm not sure if he's trying to compensate for anything, but how many floors does he own? Four floors? All right. Yep. He owns the tip. He looks down on people like us. All right. Looks like a lot of software names are kind of reversed. The CS is one of the more interesting ones. Holding the 200-day very well. CrowdStrike is interesting to undercut the 20 monthly, and now it's kind of building a wick here. SMH, Soxel, I think this is one of the most intriguing setups out there. The semiconductor complex. They've been showing a lot of strength. And you know, it's the whole ETF is flagging. I think, yeah, I think there could be something special there. I'm gonna trade it via Soxel and maybe a couple of individual names too. But yeah, it's building a powerful flag here. It's intriguing. There are things setting up. There are some very interesting things setting up. We're not quite there yet, but I think maybe, you know, later this week or and you know, next week there's gonna be a lot of setups if we have like bottomed for now. We're not out of the woods yet, but there are things setting up. Main thing to improve for me is increasing my time frames, trade less, and you can always get better, you know. I think I'm pretty good at listening to the market and figuring out where the money is flowing or going to flow, but you know, you can always get better. There's always things to improve on. I try to be a little bit better every year. But yeah, FUTU so far has been great. It's easier to see on the weekly. You know, it got beaten, it got 83% drawdown, and it started building higher lows, and that's this little range break. Now, it's not really a setup I trade a lot, like these beaten down ones, but you know, in certain scenarios, these types of setups can work really, really well. But it's not really a traditional setup of mine, and it's not a big setup. It's a pretty liquid stock for me. It's not a huge setup. Position. It's a fairly small position, but you know, my risk on it was like, I don't know, $2, and if it goes, it could very easily go back to like mid-60s, and I'll make $20, right? So it's at least 1 to 10 risk reward. Oh yeah, beaten down names. The flags on beaten down stocks can sometimes be the absolute best movers. All these cybersecurity names, CS, it undercut and reclaiming the 200-day, FTNT, Crowd. This one is kind of beaten down, but it's very strong. Yeah, bouncing off the 200-day. Yeah, there's a lot of these leading stocks over the past 6 months are kind of finding support at key levels. They're finding support where they should be finding support, so that's a good sign. But there is no setups yet. And on the other hand, if we get a nice bounce in a lot of these beaten down names, we can get a 3-4 day bounce on them. You know, we could have some mean reversion setups again. Like if something like this Carvana, if we can bounce back to the 20 day, you know, go straight up to 3-4 days, we could have some mean reversion setups. So there's a lot of potential opportunities setting up, long and short. Do you think Putin will move into Ukraine? Why the fuck are you asking me that? Who cares what I think? I'm just some guy streaming on Twitch. Who the fuck gives a shit? I don't know. No one knows. Only Putin knows.